A insecurely designed WordPress plugin was found to contain a vulnerability that made it possible for attackers to upload files from any data type to any website where this plugin was used. By the time the vulnerability was found, the WooCommerce gift card plugin was installed in over 50,000 WordPress sites that were, due to this plugin, highly vulnerable to attacks targeting so-called file upload vulnerabilities. This vulnerability could have made it possible for unauthorized users to upload files that provide them access to several restricted areas of the web application. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, short NIST, ranked the severity of this vulnerability as highly critical with a score of 9.8 out of 10. But what exactly is a file upload vulnerability? File upload vulnerabilities describe a significant risk to countless web applications that provide a file upload function on their website, since the exploitation of simple file upload functions can result in a number of high-severity attacks. In this video, you will learn how the exploitation of this vulnerability works, how attackers can use this vulnerability to perform different types of attacks, and I will provide some countermeasures you can implement to protect your application from the exploitation of file upload vulnerabilities. What is a file upload vulnerability? A file upload function is one of the most common functionalities found in all kinds of web applications. Sometimes it offers the user the option to upload pictures to be displayed in their user profile or to hand in documents, for example. File upload vulnerabilities describe a kind of security misconfiguration of those upload functions that allow users to upload files into the file system of the application without properly validating those files and checking for things like file type, content, or size. This could enable attackers to exploit this simple upload function by uploading files containing malicious or potentially dangerous content. A file upload vulnerability enables the possibility for countless attacks to be performed on a web application, and depending on the type of attack, it is simple enough to upload a single file to cause damage to the web application. In other cases, it's still necessary to perform additional steps, like sending an HTTP request for the uploaded file to trigger its execution. Either way, file upload vulnerabilities can be an attack that's rather easy to perform with some nasty possible consequences. The impact of such an attack can vary, depending on the type of attack that is performed and what kind of security measurements the application has implemented. So first, let's head into the types of attacks. There are different ways to exploit a file upload vulnerability, depending on the way the file upload validator is configured and what the attacker wants to achieve by performing a file upload attack. The following few attacks are just a part of the many possible attacks that can result in a file upload vulnerability, but addressing them all would go beyond the scope of this video. If you want to learn more about the other possible attacks, I will put some links in the description of this video that will lead you to additional resources on that topic. Let's start with the easiest type of file upload attack. Most of the time, when you try to upload any kind of file on a web application, there's some kind of size restriction implemented. However, if there is no defined limit for the file size or the file size is not checked properly, attackers might be able to upload files with a comparatively high size. This case can result in the application consuming a relative high amount of resources to process the upload, which might result in a denial of service situation. An attack like this would highly affect the availability of this application. The second type of attack I want to cover in this video is an injection attack via unrestricted file upload. A file upload vulnerability might be an unexpected way for an attacker to perform a cross-site scripting or SQL injection attack. If you have never heard about injection attacks or want to refresh your memory, I have some videos on that. Just check out the links in the description or my channel if you're interested in learning more about this topic. Now, if the application uses content from the uploaded file to process that in a database, a SQL injection attack might be possible. But not only the content of the file could cause an injection attack, but also the name of the file itself. For example, an older WordPress file upload plugin was vulnerable to cross-site scripting via the name of the file. If there is no sufficient file type validator implemented, or the attacker can find a way to bypass the validator, One of the most damaging ways to exploit a file upload vulnerability would be by performing a remote code execution. The essence of this attack is that the attacker creates a malicious shell script, uploads it onto the server, and finds a way to execute it. This way, they could affect the confidentiality of the application, as they might get access to restricted data or are able to damage the server. The last type of attack you should know about is officially named unrestricted upload of file with dangerous type by the MITRE organization. Aside from a dangerous type, attackers could also upload files that contain malicious code like a server-side script. This type occurs if the application has a file upload function where they miss to implement a verification or restriction that checks if the uploaded file type is indeed of the type the developers of the application intended to be uploaded in that situation. Attackers might exploit this vulnerability to upload files like malware executables instead of a PDF that contains their CV. Depending on the way the web server is configured, attackers might be able to upload EXE files that could contain a virus that infects the server. Alternatively, attackers could also upload PHP files, as web servers often automatically treat those file types as executable. Aside from uploading malware onto the server, the uploaded file could also contain malicious code that, for example, would help them access files on the server that they shouldn't be able to access. I will demonstrate how that works right now in the demo, so let's head into that. Alright, welcome to the demo part of this video. For this demo, I'm using the Portswigger Web Security Academy lab. Those labs are deliberately insecure websites provided to practice web security attacks on a legal basis. If you want to check it out yourself, I will put a link in the description of this video that will take you to the file upload vulnerability labs on the page. Additionally to that, we are also using the software burpsuit to upload the malicious file and execute it. You can find more about the burpsuit also via a link I put in the description. So let's get started. Okay, so for this example, we have this web application, and so if I go on my account, we can see that here we have the opportunity to upload a profile picture for our account. So what we're going to do first is upload a normal JPEG image. We're going to just use profile pic JPEG here. Click upload. And we can see here the file avatar/profile pic JPEG has been uploaded, and we can go back to the account. Now in the next step, we're going to open burpsuit and open the proxy HTTP history tab. And what we're going to do next is activate a filter up here where we just get rid of everything else except for images. Go and click apply. And what we can do now is we're just going to search for the GET request where the website requested the profile picture. We have this here. We have get file/avatar/profile picture.jpg. And now after we found the request, we're going to send it to burp's repeater so we can modify the request later on. We're just going to click here on send to repeater. We need this to execute the malicious file we will upload in the next step. Now, before we can actually upload the file with the malicious content, we first have to create it though. To do that, we're just going to use a simple text editor. I've already done this. So we have this file created that's called exploit.php. And that contains this PHP script. As the task for this lab is to access the content of a secret file from the user Carlos. So we will use the function file getContents with the path pointing to where this file is located. It will be home/Carlos/secret. And by using echo, we make sure that the content of the file will be displayed later in the response. So in the next step, we're going to upload this script where we uploaded the profile picture earlier. Just going to click exploit, upload it, and we're going to click upload. And we can see now the file avatar/exploit.php has been uploaded. There was no kind of validator that restricted us from uploading a .php file. So this is definitely a file upload vulnerability here. Now, after we uploaded the script, we can return to burp suite, and we're going to open the repeater tab, where the request we found earlier already waits for us. Now we can simply replace the path in the get files avatar/profile pic JPEG request that points to the image with the path that points to our PHP file. By this, we just have to change profilepic.jpg to exploit.php. And in the next step, we're going to send this request. And by resending this request, we trigger actually the execution of our malicious script. So let's click on send. And if we now check the response, we can see there's some response header. And down here, we can see the valuable information that we requested with our malicious PHP script. Because this is Carlos' secret. What we can do now is just copy that and submit it as the solution for this lab. And as you can see, we solved the lab, so that was the correct data. As always, this was a very simple example of how the exploitation of a file upload vulnerability can look like. Often, the application has some kind of validator implemented in the front end that checks the uploaded file type for any malicious types. But there are ways to bypass such validators as well, and I will put a link in the description of this video that further explains how some file type validators can be bypassed. Some examples for that would be encoding the file name or changing the file extension to avoid the validator to deny the upload of the file. You're probably wondering how it's even possible to perform such an attack. Probably all websites you can find out there must have some sort of restriction or validation implemented in their file upload functions, right? That's correct indeed, but most of the time these protective measures aren't 100% sufficient and contain flaws, and attackers can find a way to bypass them. For example, the only measurement could be a blacklist that should filter out any malicious file types, but there are always other file types that can be used for an attack like that didn't make it on the list. But don't worry, here are a few tips on what to look out for to avoid file upload vulnerabilities when creating a web application. First things first, every time you implement an upload function in your application, make sure that it checks the extension of the files inserted by the user before uploading them onto your system. Don't use a blacklist for that, because there will be file types that will be missed. Rather, use a whitelist that only allows certain types to be uploaded that are required for the respective function. For example, if you want your users to upload a profile picture, only allow JPEG file extensions. Or for a CV upload, only allow docx or PDF extensions. Besides checking the file extensions, you should also check the MIME type of the image to at least protect yourself against simple file upload attacks. Additionally to this, it is crucial that the validator that checks the file extension first decodes the file name and uses a proper filter. There are a few bypasses that can be used to trick a normal allow list to wave through files that don't match the allowed file type. For example, attackers can bypass the validator for an image upload function by using double extensions like .jpeg, .php, and the validator only confirms that the file name contains .jpeg. Another way to bypass the extension check would be by using null bytes, meaning an extension like .php%00.jpg would be reduced to .php as the new extension. I also put a link in the description of this video that takes you to the OWASP input validation cheat sheet, where you can find additional resources of how to implement a proper validator. Next, to avoid a large file denial of service attack, the application should always contain a function that restricts the size of the file that is being uploaded. As stated before, if there is no size limit implemented, attackers can easily use the opportunity to upload files with a huge size to overload the file storage system or the server's processor. Last, to avoid users being able to access any data as seen as in the demo part of this video, it's important to limit the permissions users and the file system have on any type of asset on your application server or database. Always make sure only authorized users are able to access any files, no matter what way, by implementing a proper access control. You can check out my video on access control vulnerabilities via the link in the description if you want to learn more about this topic. There are many more ways an application can be secured against file upload attacks that would go beyond the scope of this video. But I will put a link to the OWASP file upload cheat sheet in the description where you can get more details if you're interested. To put everything together, by now you should have a good overview about file upload vulnerabilities. The ways a vulnerable file upload function can be exploited vary a lot, and the damage that such an attack causes reaches from damaging the availability of an application over harming the confidentiality of your data to causing damage to your servers in case the attacker managed to upload executable files that contain a virus. To prevent file upload vulnerabilities occurring in your web application, it is important to implement proper file type validators and allow lists that can't be easily bypassed. Also, prevent users from uploading any other file types than the ones you want to be uploaded in the respective case. You will find all the links to the resources and websites I mentioned in this video in the description. If you're interested in learning more about web security, consider subscribing to my channel so you don't miss out on any new uploads, and feel free to check out my other videos. Until then, I wish you a delightful day and see you soon in the next video. Goodbye.